Hi there, I'm Melanie Carr, the Creative Evolution Officer of Hokema Heart Hotel, a medical intuitive life coach. So what happens in life when we have traumas, more serious traumas through problems in childhood, in the development of our sexuality, in the development of our creative energy, or it can just be everyday life. So have you ever wondered when you hear, whether you've had a situation or you hear someone else talking about somebody has had sexual abuse in their life or a sexual trauma, and everyone kind of goes, there's this stigma around, that person had a problem with sexual abuse. And it's one of the things I really hate. I hate the way that people see it, the same as the way I hate when people say he is an addict, or he is addicted to alcohol, or he is a drug addict. Because one of the things I realized was that we are all addicts, okay? Everybody, whether it's sugar, whether it seems like I'm going off topic here, but I'm not going off topic. I'm actually talking about exactly the same thing. We've all experienced, and we've all had because of the culture and in our lives, situations of sexual abuse, the abuse of our creative, erotic, and intimate energy. And I think you don't have to go further than to walk out on the street and see a billboard that's selling a beer, and the girl that's selling the beer has these big boobies, and she's holding up the beer can and she's saying, you're gonna get this and this incredible erotic thing if you drink this beer. And one of the things that we're not understanding in our society and our culture is that is using your creative, intimate, and erotic energy to make you buy a product. So we're all victims or receivers, because I don't like victimizing people, but we're all recipients of sexual abuse, and we're all addicts. And the day we stop pointing fingers at others, and the day we stop going like, oh, he's a drug addict, or she was abused as a child, or this person the minute we stop seeing it and labeling it in this way, we're going to better understand how to heal our own sexual energy and our own sexual traumas. We all have them from the moment we step out onto society, onto the sidewalk or the road. We start driving our car up the road, and the marketing companies, the television, the magazines, and every area of society is using our sexual energy. So this is a very interesting point, because most people don't look at it this way. They just see. Most people say, okay, well, I was lucky. I was never abused. I'm okay. Or I just had a small situation of abuse. Boyfriend, kind of forced me to kiss him, or some small shadow of sexual abuse happened in their lives, or the other kind of sexual abuse that happens. And that's the one where you're told by a group of people or a religion that your sexuality is something taboo, something bad, or something dirty, or you're told that just by a family member, a grandmother, an aunt or uncle, someone, caregiver who's teaching you. So I remember in my life, I was about 11 years old. So I want to share this personal story with everyone, because it's a very good example of how a very subtle experience in my life started me on this path of discovery about my erotic, creative, and intimate energy. So I was about 11, and I went to our church group, and we had a girls' class, and the lady who was teaching the class took the girls aside and told us that it was not ladylike to touch yourself. So here I am, 11 years old, and I I don't remember exactly the age when I started to touch myself or explore my body as a child, but it was before I was 11 years old. I'm sure it was before I was 11 years old because I remember feeling this horrible, horrible feeling of embarrassment and this horrible feeling that I was not a ladylike, a good little girl. And I was just terrified in that moment when I was told that that was bad or wrong. And I was always a really good little girl, so my first reaction was just to completely block all my creative energy. It was like as if I heard that, I felt so embarrassed, and I just closed this door. I just slammed this door shut on my energy. And it wasn't until I was about 16 or 17 and I had my first boyfriend that I really started to realize that I had kind of put the stops on things, And it wasn't a healthy way to have those kind of experiences. So when I did start having intimate experiences with a guy, the first thing that was happening in my mind was I was just thinking, my thoughts were so fast, and I was just thinking, this is bad and this is wrong and I shouldn't be doing this, and I couldn't even enjoy myself. I couldn't enjoy making love. It took me quite a while, quite a few years, till I was about 23, 24, 25. And it was quite the process to resolve. And that is not even sexual abuse. That is just someone telling you, someone using your creative, intimate energy to control you in your life. And a lot of religions do this, and a lot of people, maybe they do it with the best of intentions, but it's not the way that children should be taught about their sexuality. And one of the examples that I love to talk about is, Johnny, he's like 2 years old in the kitchen with his grandmother, and he starts touching himself, and his grandmother, sometimes even at 2 years old, his grandma smacks his hand and says to him, don't touch yourself, Poochie, that's a dirty boy kind of thing, or whatever she says to him, I'm trying to think of what a grandma might say. Poochie. But here's this little boy gets smacked on the hand because he was feeling his creative, intimate energy in his body. So this whole issue about sexual abuse and healing sexual trauma and healing your sexual energy is so important, because a lot of people are depressed. A lot of people are, they want to do their life mission. They want to find, what they love to do, and they can't even figure out what they're passionate about, because when they were very young, it was the same as like in my situation, that passion or that creative energy was just, the door was closed, it was blocked, it was basically it was abused. So there's many different ways that we can have and experience sexual abuse, and sometimes it's just going out in society and seeing all these commercials and all these things on TV, very erotic sexual things on TV that are selling us stuff, and the marketing company knows how to use our erotic and intimate energy to motivate us, to manipulate us. The religions, the old-fashioned religions model of sexuality, of blocking sexuality to control people, is also very, very common. So you don't even need to go further into sexual abuse to, other problems like rape and incest and family problems and issues which become even larger traumas. I think the day that we all accept and we all realize that because of the way society and culture has managed sexuality, everybody has been a recipient. I don't like to say victim, so everyone has been a recipient, and I'm trying to change that in my wording for all my material. Everyone's been a recipient of sexual abuse in some way or another in their lives. And I think the first step towards healing this, towards starting to even discover, what do you love? Why are you depressed? Why are you exhausted? Where is your energy? Where's the energy in your body? And why are you not able to use it in your life to be passionate and turned on and creative. Some people don't even know what they love to do because they've lost that at some place they lost. So when the 2-year-old boy gets his hand slapped and is told to not touch himself, what I think we should do for children, the best way to encourage children to start to use their creative, intimate energy is right from when they're little children. Take the child, if you see that it's having awakening or it's exploring their body, then take the child to the table and say, hey, here's a coloring book, or here's some music, or here's a musical instruments, or here's whatever creative endeavor you have noticed that the child enjoys. Every time you see the child exploring its creative energy, take the child to a place where teach them to channel that creative energy. And that's way, way different than saying to the child, don't do that, it's bad, it's wrong, it's dirty. And yet most of us had some kind of situation where we were told, whether it's as a woman, even, if you want to explore your sexuality and you're, now you're an easy woman, or you're a slut, or, in many cases, women are also called, other things, and it's not kind to use those kind of terms towards women, because we have just as much right to explore our sexuality as men do. And most women, their desire to explore their sexuality is usually quite imbalanced, and most women are looking for love, and most women would really like to have, a relationship that's based on respect and even on the kind of traditional values that many people are taught. But those traditional values should be taught with understanding and balance and love, and not with even between women, putting other women down. When you see it, that woman might be going through her healing process of healing her traumas and her own intimate energy, and that might be why she's having multiple partners or different partners. Or some people are very different and have a different kind of perspective or outlook on their energy. So it all depends on what each person is going through, and we can't judge other people because we don't walk in their shoes. We don't know what that other person is going through. So part of respecting ourselves is also really learning to respect others, respect their process that they're going through. People need so much love, and people need so much understanding when it comes to their creative erotic energy, because we come from a society that has been manipulating, abusing, and using our creative, intimate sexual energy for hundreds, if not maybe thousands of years. Maybe not so much as a manipulation in the older times, but since the church was basically managing that issue in this way, we have the whole marketing strategy with the TV and the magazines. We've basically been a society of general sexual abuse in many ways. So I wanted to talk about this because I feel like, how can we heal the traumas, and how can we heal the situations and experiences we've had? How can we also heal it if we can't understand? There's people in the world who, because of the way our energy has been abused, there's people in the world that are struggling, and there's people having problems like pedophiles and rapists, and I don't want to mention it in such a term like that, but even a lot of men, and some women too, with pornography addiction, with many challenging situations that have come out of this whole general societal problem of sexual abuse. So when you start to look at sexual abuse and sexual trauma as a general problem in the population, this can also really help someone who has gone through more serious situation with their sexuality. And sometimes it's just a small shadow of those kind of situations of sexual abuse, but sometimes it's a much more real physical situation that people are dealing with, which makes it a lot harder. But even the people that have been raped or have had those kind of experiences, or people that have been in a relationship with someone who had pornography addiction and wasn't able to be their partner, or just many things that can happen. Even men who've been rejected by women, just rejected by women because they're not the typical kind of guy, that a lot of women are looking for they have their checklist, and it's very cruel and it's very abusive because there's a lot of really wonderful men out there who would love to have a loving relationship, and they get into other situations like porn addiction, and they get into other kind of abusive sexual behaviors because of the fact that society is wanting the partner to be like the typical handsome, rich, intelligent, tall, all of those typical like guy things, and people have to start getting away from wanting the kind of couple that we see on TV, the kind of romance or the kind of love life that we've been sold this fairy tale about it. And as long as our expectations are so high, we're not going to find love in our lives. Women aren't finding love in their lives, and men are being treated really, really badly in a lot of situations, and women too. I like to keep things very much, I'm not a feminist. I like to keep all the issues of masculine and feminine energy in balance. We've all had different situations that are difficult, whether you're a man or a woman. So, and I think many times it's more difficult for guys too, because men, they have a harder time with this, especially when they have had abuse in their lives. It's a lot more difficult because there's so much shame. And I think one of the first steps that we can take to help people overcome the shame of the situations and experience of sexual abuse are to realize that we all have been abused sexually by the world, by the billboards, by the magazines, by the TV, by the internet, by social media, by just society's idea in general about what is yummy, what is good to consume, whether it's alcohol, and then all the addiction comes into that, of course, because our sexual energy has been used by marketing companies to sell us products that are not usually healthy for us. So it's another form of massive sexual abuse at the end of the day. And this is my main topic that I want to start this podcast again. I took a break for a couple of years, and now I'm full speed ahead with the YouTube channel. I was finishing my project, the Hook My Heart Hotel here, and now that is ready, I'm back in the podcast again. And this first video for the new Erotic Abundance podcast, I wanted it to be about this issue, how we all experience sexual abuse and we all experience addiction too. So no more pointing fingers at addicts or people that have been abused, and no more victimization either. You are a recipient of sexual abuse in your life. We all are. And we're also a recipient. The result of that many times is addiction. So no more he is labeling. So no more he is a drug addict. She was abused sexually. He is an alcoholic, or she's an alcoholic, or she's a slut, or any of those kind of labels. Let's have a little bit more love for each other, and let's allow this to fall away. I think it's so important that we let this fall by the wayside, and we make a conscious effort to understand. We all have had situations of sexual abuse in our lives, and it's a permeating experience in our society because of the way that we see and understand our sexual energy. So the Erotic Abundance podcast is exactly about this. It's a lot of stories and my life journey as well, my experience, because ever since I was very young, I've been studying, understanding, and experiencing different situations in my life. And I've come across different information, and between Tantra and sexual transmutation, I want to create this podcast as a way for women and men in a balanced situation to be able to have discussions about their sexuality, about their creative, erotic, and intimate energy, how to use it in their lives in a healthier way, and use it for getting up in the morning, being passionate, being creative, creating an incredible life, because that is what our God-given intimate and creative energy is. You know, when you look at a seed in the garden, you don't go to say to the seed, oh, don't sprout, because if you grow leaves and you sprout, that's your sexual energy. No, we say, wow, look at the beautiful God expression in that seed. The universe is creating in the seed, and now there's this beautiful plant. So when do we stop understanding that our seed, our sprouting, all of our energy, if we nurture it and we give it sunlight and we give it water and we look after it in our lives with loving energy, with self-love, when are we going to start understanding that it is our universal God-given gift to create in our lives, and also to share energy with other humans, to have our creative sexual experiences and keep those sexual experiences, which are very good for creating energy and sharing energy in a loving way with others, or hopefully with our partner. But each person has their own belief systems and their own ideas about sexuality. So then we have from there using that energy to create and have a wonderful, abundant, healthy life, bringing that energy up into our body, into our heart center, and using the imaginative faculty of the mind to direct that energy out into the universe and create. It's sexual alchemy. It's our erotic, abundant energy. So this is what we'll be talking about in the podcast. I hope you love this session. This is my first one. It's been a couple of years, so I'm excited, and I hope I was able to express this in a concise way, and they're only going to get better. So bear with me and follow, if you can. I'm on YouTube, and I'm also going to put this up on the podcast sites for the different podcasts. So have a great day, and take a look at in your life how this is true, how we all have had situations where our energy has been used by others, and now with this podcast I'm going to teach you how to use it for yourself, because it's your energy. It's not the marketing company's energy, it's not the church's energy, it's not your family's energy, it's not your government's energy, and it's not your love partner's energy either. It's your energy, and it's here for you to share with loving kindness, or it's here for you to use to create what you came here